What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I've seen a lot of YouTubers doing this. They're doing a my top 25 90s movies challenge from the channel called Tim Talks Movies. No, Tim Talks Talkies. And he's doing a community challenge for all the YouTubers out there to do their top 25 90s movies, and which is hard for me because I grew up in the 90s and I had a lot of favorites. Just so many to choose from, but I had to put down to 25. So I'm actually going to leave the link to Tim Talks Talkies in the description box below so you can check out his channel and see his community challenges. And here's my top 25 that I just happened to own on VHS. All VHS movies on my top 25. They're not in any specific order, so I'm just going to do it. The first one is Three Ninjas Hiding at Mega Mountain. Probably the only Three Ninjas movies is my favorite. I like them all, but this one right here is my favorite. Not just because Hulk Hogan's in it, because he was my favorite wrestler in the 90s, but it's got Jim Varney in it, who plays Ernest, and I think this is a lot more fun to watch because I think this was my favorite movie as a kid. One of my favorite Three Ninjas movies as a kid, and watching it as an adult, I still enjoy it. Um, Also, Bean, the movie. I don't know, this movie is just hilarious, and if you see it on TV, just stop what you're doing and watch it, because Rowan Atkinson as Bean, I mean, what can I say? This is a pretty good movie, really funny movie, so check that out. This Bean the movie. Um, John Lovitz in a spoof slapstick movie, High School High. I like my comedies that are spoof like and just slapsticky. Tia Carrere, Mackay Pfeiffer. Yeah, Tia Carrere from Wayne's World. What the heck? Something just fell. Anyway, High School High. Got that one. And Phil Hartman and Sinbad in House Guest. Sinbad was in a lot of movies in the 90s, but House Guest was a real good one. It's he kind of plays Phil Hartman's best friend as a child, but he's like a con artist too. So he's stepping in as his fake best friend. I don't know it's hard to explain, but yeah, but House Guest. And of course, I had to put a Pauly Shore movie in here, but it's not one that you would think. It's in the Army now. I like Son-in-Law. I like Encino Man, but in the Army now is probably one of those other Pauly Shore movies that you wouldn't think that would be your favorite, but this one I really do enjoy. I really do. It's more than Encino Man, even though it's amazing, and Son-in-Law is amazing. I think In the Army Now is also a great movie. So in my top 25. Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone in Blast from the Past. I remember renting this from Blockbuster, or my sisters did, and we watched it, and but I didn't really enjoy it as a kid, but as an adult watching it again, I enjoy it because Blast from the Past. I think it's from he's 19. He either goes into a bomb shelter in the 50s or 60s and wake up 35 years later in the 90s. So, and he has to live in the 90s from a bomb shelter. So, Blast from the Past. Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, John Lovitz, and Jack Palance, and City Slickers 2. The sequel, I feel, is much better than the original. I don't know. It's just maybe because John Lovitz is in here and not who's the other dude? I forgot the other guy's name, but yeah. But John Lovitz in the sequel, maybe that's what made it better. I don't know, but it has more comedy and more adventure type stuff. And City Slickers 2 is my favorite, top 25. All right, Robert Townsend, Eddie Griffin, James Earl Jones, Bill Cosby, Big Daddy Kane, Sinbad, Luther Vandross, and Another Bad Creation, the rap group, and Meteor Man. I don't know, it's just, this movie is so good. A guy gets hit by a meteor and he has superpowers. I mean, it's so good. I think it's so good, so good, so good. All right, Dan Aykroyd, another Dan Aykroyd movie. Did I do another Dan? No. Coneheads, really good 90s movie. It's just stars just popping up like you never would know. I think Sinbad was in this one, and Chris Farley and David Spade. So it's just like a bunch of Hollywood stars pop up when you least expect it. So Coneheads, a really good one. I remember watching this when it was on like Nickelodeon back in the late 90s. I don't know, but Leslie Nielsen and Mr. Magoo. I never really watched the cartoon, but I watched this movie and I really seemed to enjoy it because I was a kid. I like comedies, and as an adult, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it as an adult. So, Mr. Magoo, probably the only horror movie in this list, which is surprising. But this is Dead Alive, the most goriest zombie film I have seen so far. And it's just so bizarre. It's just weird. The weirder the better, I think. I mean, it's a horror movie and it has some comedy stuff in it, and it's just a zombie baby. That's all I can say. Zombie baby. Totally weird, but I love it. All right. Hulk Hogan and Mr. Nanny. Huge fan of Hulk Hogan in the 90s, and this was a movie that I really wanted to see, and I saw it, and I kept on watching it over and over and over. I remember, and as an adult watching it, I still enjoy it. Mr. Nanny. Leslie Nielsen and Mel Brooks in Dracula Dead and Loving It. A Dracula spoof with Leslie Nielsen. You can't go wrong with this. I think it's great. I watch it as an adult and I still think it's funny. Walt Disney Pictures. What's the guy's name? Harlan Williams. Rocket Man. Like, this was a hard find for me. Like, I couldn't find this movie for a long time, and I remember watching this movie as a kid, and I found it on VHS, and like, I snatched it up for a quarter. Like, yes, I'm gonna watch this movie, and I watched it again, and I still enjoyed it. So, Rocket Man. I'm sure you all have heard of these movies. Brendan Fraser and Georgia of the Jungle. I think I know I enjoy this movie. Leslie Mann is in it. Thomas Hayden Church. John Cleese. Well, he's the voice in it. But Georgia of the Jungle. I like it. Now, this one is actually a TV movie from Hallmark. And I didn't think I would enjoy it. because it's like a two taped movie, and it stars Ted Danson, and it's Gulliver's Travels. I just thought it was like a super long movie. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it for like 3 hours, but then I watched it. It's not just an adventure fantasy movie. It has a lot of topical things in here. So if you watch it today, talking about the stuff back then of how the world should be or how leadership should be and who should be elected, man, it's topical. So it's like, it's a thinker. So Gulliver's Travels with Ted Danson is real good. Another Leslie Nielsen movie. I like Leslie Nielsen movies with their slapstick and spoof movies. Spy Hard. And the most memorable thing in here was the Weird Al Yankovic cameo in the beginning of the movie, singing the theme song, The Spy Hard. And was this the one with? Oh yeah, it's the Andy Griffith one. Andy Griffith plays the bad guy in here, and it's so funny. It's like he has prosthetic arms, and he rips off his arms, and Andy Griffith runs off saying, "Don't hurt me, I'm an unarmed man." That's funny to me. Spy Hard. All right, Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill and Little Giants. I didn't care for sports when I was a kid. I still don't. But just watching a movie with Rick Moranis, John Madden was in it. John Madden made an appearance, but this movie, I don't know, I really liked it. I watched it once or twice as a kid and then watched it more as an adult, and I think it's a great movie. Great, great, great. Um, Stay tuned with John Ritter. Basically, they get a new satellite dish from the devil, and they get sucked into the TV, and they have to escape the TV through all these TV shows and channels, and basically, it's the devil controlling the TV channels. I don't know, but they are in HTV, like MTV, Hell TV, Spaghetti Western, Dwayne's Underworld, which makes fun of Wayne's World, and I think the funniest movie, if you watch it as an adult but you wouldn't get it as a kid, that he switches the channel and John Ritter is in what's that TV show he was in? I forget the TV. Three's Company, and he gets sucked into that, and the son will come knock on my door, and the two girls like, "Where you been?" And he looks at the camera and screams and changes the channel. So I thought that was funny. Stay tuned. There's a lot of video game movies from the 90s that I really love, like Mortal Kombat. I love that one, the first one. And Super Mario Brothers and Double Dragon. I like Double Dragon. But out of all of those, I had to pick this one. Street Fighter, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Raul Julia. I mean, why did they pick Jean-Claude Van Damme as an American? I didn't get that one, but not everyone fought in this movie, which it was kind of bum me out, but overall, I thought it was a great movie, Street Fighter. Another Leslie Nielsen, Rob Schneider, and Ernie Reyes Jr. I thought it was Tone Loc was in here. I thought Tone Loc was in here too. Oh yeah, he is. Surf Ninjas. It's been a while since I watched this, but I need to watch it again because I know I love this movie. I remember watching it, and of course I remember watching it. But yeah, I remember bits and pieces, so I'm gonna have to rewatch this. But it's been a while since. But Surf Ninjas If it was on TV right now, I would stop and watch it. Another slapstick comedy, and Leslie Nielsen is the bad guy, which is weird. Uh, Colonel Chi, like herbal tea. Surf Ninjas. All right, so this has a young Kenan Thompson in it. Heavyweights. It's just Ben Stiller is running a fat camp, and he's pretty much crazy. He's insane. So heavyweights. I know you've heard. Everyone's heard of this one. I hope. I hope. Robin Williams in the movie Toys. It's not a great copy, but I have a copy of Toys. And being a kid that loves to play with toys and wanting to see a Toys movie, like I wanted to work in this place as a kid. Like I watched this movie, like I want to be around all those toys. It looked so much fun until the toys starting to kill people. I think it's about Rod Williams owning this toy company, which is like a weird place. It's bizarre. Then it's taken over by this general guy that wants to make army toys. And Robin Williams doesn't like army toys or things with guns or whatnot, but they try to take him over and controls all the toys that cuts Robin Williams down. I think that's how the movie was. But I remember, like, I'm explaining it wrong, but Toys is one of my top 25. Glenn Close in the live action of 101 Dalmatians. Watched it as a kid, enjoyed it. Watched it as an adult, still enjoy it. Glenn Close makes a great Cruella de Vil. And Jeff Daniels. Who's the guy that plays House? Uh, yeah, he's one of the dog nappers. I didn't like as a kid I would never know who he was, but as an adult, like, oh, that's House. That one of the guys right there. Yeah, 101 Dalmatians live action. All right, last one. The first one I thought was okay, but the second one came around and I thought it was. Well, I wasn't around when the second one. Well, I was around, but Weekend at Bernie's 2, I think, is much funnier than the first one, in my opinion. Everyone would think like, what? But I think Weekend at Bernie's 2 had a lot more going for it than the first one. I mean, they just sat around the house with the dead body of their boss. But in this one, he's like voodoo reincarnated, I guess, but not reincarnated, but he comes back from voodoo and he moves around when there's music. So he's like dancing to music and walking around. And the same two guys from the first one, well, also all three guys is from the first one. So Weekend at Bernie's 2. This probably wasn't a great top 25 list, but it was mine. So probably not a great video. But anyway, that was my top 25 movies from the 90s. I'm enjoying watching everyone else's top 25. And I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you thought of my top 25. Did it suck? Probably did, because it's not like every movie that someone would pick. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you later.